You're listening to Oilersnation Radio, presented by the Nation Network.
Good morning, everybody! Fired up today, Cam.
People might not be listening in the morning.
Good afternoon, everybody! No matter where you are or where you're consuming this content, we bid you a good day. I'm sitting here with Danger Dan to my left, Atcoom across from the table, and Rick sitting in for Chris, who is lounging in Mexico. He's probably up, by the time we're recording this, it is 11:15 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Chris probably been up for 6 hours.
2 square meals, probably a nap by now.
Yep. Now,
Just like responding to emails.
yesterday, we were texting Chris, and he was sending us a new cocktail, probably every 8 minutes.
Were they his though, or were we just like
Well, that's what we want to know.
random ones from around the book? Excuse me, miss. I just need to take a quick photo of this to impress my friends.
This is what we need to know because they were different kinds of daiquiris. There was some straight tequila on the rocks. This doesn't sound like a Chris order, Cam.
On the rocks. They don't count unless he shows you him drinking them.
There you go. Chris, you're a liar, man. You're doing Mexico wrong because you wake up too early and it bothers me. And more time for activities.
No siestas. You just get to the bar. 9:30 a.m. Help him set up. Sayalita.
I told him that one of the best things about going to Mexico is trying to barter with locals and like the weird little markets and shit. Watching Chris barter with a Mexican dude trying to like get knickknacks and tchotchkes would have been hilarious.
He would get talked into paying more for the item.
Yes. Jared's waving a finger at us. What's going on over there? We're back. We're live.
There it is.
Hello, Dan. Are you here?
No,
Dan is a figment of all
allegedly,
of our
in my
imaginations.
opinion.
Now, I don't know where you, the listener, came into this. We were complaining about Chris for a couple of minutes, but now I guess we'll turn to the Oilers. Good morning, everybody.
Good evening.
Wherever you are, good day. On this day, November 30th, 2018, the Edmonton Oilers made a waiver claim. First thing in the morning, Valentin Zykov.
Cam came
Hold on a minute.
Zykov. Cam, is that how we pronounce
running
it?
into the office.
Here's how it's pronounced via Elite Prospects.
Valentin Zykov.
Let me try that
One more time.
Valentin Zykov.
We're learning where
I
the
don't know if
speakers are.
Valentin Zykov.
I don't know if we're going to do that. Valentine. Happy Valentine.
Let's just call him Valentine.
Yeah.
Valentin Zykov.
The Oilers made a waiver claim of Valentin Zykov.
Patrick Russell goes down, just for the record. Not sure who's
We're
caught
going to
up
get to
on
that,
this.
my friend, because this is an important thing. Now that we've got Valentin Zykov and the Carolina Hurricanes, the young man, the 23-year-old drink of water, he is 6'1", 223 pounds of Russian beef.
123 out.
Yeah, I struggle with the language sometimes. Dan, what do you want from me?
Hey.
In 2018, Zykov has 3 assists in 13 games with the Carolina Hurricanes. Not playing a whole lot by the looks of things. But last year, 2017-18, he had 3 goals, 4 assists in 10 points with the in 10 games with the Hurricanes. So 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, 10 games. In the AHL, though, he had 33 goals, 21 assists, 54 points in 63 games. Boys, real quick, around the horn, what do you think about the waiver pickup? Dan, I'll start with you.
If there's anything we like in Edmonton, it's an AHL score.
A reclamation project, if you will.
Yes. There's tons of Edmonton connection here because
We're going to get into the history in a minute, Dan, because you did a deep dive. Is like, there's some layers to this waiver pickup.
I got excited.
There's some history here.
Dan's got like a scroll here filled with about 1,000 words. So I think we're gearing ourselves up for a Dan monologue. If anybody is wanting to just like kind of skip ahead.
Wow.
Let's fast forward.
Cam, what do you think about the pickup of Valentin Zykov?
Go ahead and skip ahead right now.
You skip ahead of my part. Low risk, high reward. Zykov could be good. The Oilers have a great history of excellent Russian wingers on their team, so why not see what happens? You never know unless you try.
Rick?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's low cost. Keeps a couple guys down that don't need to come up this year that people kept trying to bring up prematurely. It's another guy in the spot to keep Yamo down for a little while.
According to our friends at Elite Prospects, Dan, before we get into your trade history, they say Zykov is a highly skilled, offensive-minded player. Zykov is strong, skates very well, and has impressive hands and creativity. Good scorer and potential to become a high-scoring player in the future. That sounds good, right, Dan?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to have on your team.
Tell us how we got here.
So Zykov was drafted 37th overall, which was drafted. He was drafted by the LA Kings, and we actually had that pick originally.
Go ahead.
So we traded down twice during that draft for that pick. So from LA, we got the 57th overall and the 88th overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
We then turned the 57th overall pick to St. Louis. We turned that into the 94th, the 83rd, and the 113th overall.
Oh, love those late round picks, Rick.
Those are good numbers though. 94 and 83.
This is like a scratch card.
No wonder we had to roll a dice on
Got to
those.
get the scratch cards.
You're
Dan?
buying a scratch card and you're scratching off just to see.
So this was a Mac T draft move that he did. And the players that he picked up for those were Bogdan Yakimov, who's played one game for us.
Man, I had high hopes for that guy.
Anton Slepyshev,
I
who's
had
played
high hopes for
102
him
games
as well.
for us.
Oh,
Anton
Sleppy.
Slepyshev scored a goal for the Oilers in the playoffs,
Yes.
so it was worth it.
Sleppy's a solid dude.
He also got Jackson Hook,
And his
who's-
wife is a rocket.
who's
Oh,
playing
yeah, that's crazy.
Jackson Hook's wife is a
Jackson
rocket.
Hook.
No,
No,
Slep.
Anton Slepyshev.
Slep.
I miss her.
Slep was 23, looking like he's 43.
Yeah.
The hard Russian years, man. Like that was, we were looking at Zykov. He's Russian as fuck.
Tough years, man.
Go ahead.
Tough years.
Dan, go ahead.
Jackson Hook now plays for Acadia in the Canadian college ranks. They also got Kyle Platzer, who now plays for the Florida Everblades, and Aiden Muir, who plays for the Fort Wayne Comets. So a lot of ECHL players there.
It only took us 5 years. We got back to Zykov with the original pick.
And then also,
Go
there's
ahead.
another part to this trade this player that has an Edmonton connection.
Mm-hmm.
Former Oiler great Chris Versteeg
Preseason legend.
was traded for
Turncoat.
back
Chris.
when
So
Turncoat.
the LA
Versteeg.
Kings traded for,
Chris Versteeg from
Versteeg?
the Carolina Hurricanes.
and Zykov was part of the package, yes?
Yep.
No,
That was back when he was back in the KHL.
because they traded.
Or QMJHL.
They acquired Versteeg from Carolina and they gave up Zykov in
Okay.
2016 trade deadline.
So what we're looking at, if my math is correct here, this is the third professional team for Zykov, Dan.
Correct.
Is there any concerns about being 23 years old and being on your third NHL team?
I don't think so. Like, it's one of those things. Carolina's not a great team. So I don't think that there's a big deal there. You know, when these guys are magic beans in the QMJHL and the OHL, you never know what they're going to turn into. And so when they make that deal for Chris Versteeg, it's not a huge deal for the player. And you know, if you can't stick with the Carolina Hurricanes, why not try and stick with the Edmonton Oilers?
That sounds kind of damning, because I think you're trying to sound positive, but what you said now is the Oilers are picking up scraps from the Hurricanes,
Yeah,
and the
that couldn't
Hurricanes are bad. So is this a good thing that we're picking up players that are not good enough to be on the Carolina Hurricanes? Does it matter?
They couldn't see the potential. That's what I'm going to go with. They couldn't see what he's bringing to the game. We have Hitch behind the bench. That guy will figure it out. And I think we'll have a new third line left winger right here.
All right, so let's talk about that, Rick. Obviously, the Oilers now need to make a roster move to make some space for Zykov. It's not like they can send him down to Bakersfield. It's not going to work that way, so we need to make space. Rick, you've had thoughts. You were texting me on my way in.
What
do you think?
What my thoughts were don't really matter because it's already been announced. But Patrick Russell went down.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, right in mid-podcast, we got to write an article down.
Breaking news.
Breaking
Yeah.
news.
Well, that's what I tried to start off with.
Yeah. God
Oh yeah,
damn.
we weren't sure if you were going like official with that
no,
or
no,
if you were
I
just making a
figured
call.
everyone's on Twitter here. Like everyone would have saw this by now, but no.
Patrick Russell it is then. Well, there goes ruins my conversation, Cam. Way to go, buddy.
I think they should send down Ty Ratty. Personally,
I honestly, I thought Ratty was going to go
Before
down.
we started recording this, we were talking about why it might be ratty in the sense that at least Patrick Russell was actually in the game last night.
2 games in a row.
2 games in a row, and Ratty's just like, well,
but I think that,
Hitchcocked.
I think for Patrick Russell, it does make sense because he goes down to the AHL and now plays some games. Like he's the guy that Bob Nicholson loves and wants to use as a part of the marketing package. And so now he's on the AHL roster playing games again.
Can you guys, so we're not doing Coombs Trivia this week, but I want to give you guys just a little small taste of something that I whipped up right now in celebration of Valentine.
If we get this wrong, do we have to do hot sauce?
Yes, you have to, Evan will come in midway through the podcast. I don't know where he is. We haven't heard from him in days. If anybody knows where Evan is, we might have left him at Kingsway Garden Ball when we were there yesterday. I don't know where Evan is. Not a big deal. But
He got lost in the bay that used to be Zellers.
He was going to pick up a new order of ketchup. So when he's back, if he's back, you guys have to drink all of it.
His bay used to be Zellers?
Yes.
All right, can you name?
A long time ago.
So I think it's a well-known thing. The Oilers don't have a good time with Russian players. That's a fair statement to make.
You're too young to remember Bobo.
You're
on.
gonna
Andrei discount Alexei
Kovalenko.
Mikanov?
I'm gonna.
Andrei Kovalenko.
Come on now.
I've got a question
tank.
here. Who are the top 3 scoring Russians in Oilers history from either Russia or the Soviet Union?
Mikko Koskinen is a goalie.
No, Mikko Koskinen's from Finland and he's a goalie. And you're not going to bark out his name or Roman Hammerlich's name.
Is Rick right? Is Kovalenko on that list?
Kovi's got to be there.
Kovalenko is the second, number 2.
Yeah,
I took a picture with him at Carnival of Champions, Coop. What do you think about that?
I think that's fantastic.
He
Somewhere.
has no idea what Carnival Champions is.
I don't know what that is.
I know it.
Do you
They were
really not
fan-
know what Carnival of
Why would
Champions
I
is?
don't know. Why would I know
They
what
were
that is?
so good, man.
Oh man, they were
What
the
is
best.
that?
Oh,
So every
good.
year the Oilers and Eskimos would throw like a little carnival at Rexall Place. They would take out the ice. Obviously, it was in the off season. And they would set up little games and you would interact with the players. I remember shooting on Freddie Brathwaite.
Oh, Freddie. Yeah, that's fun.
When was this?
Mid-90s?
Early
Wow.
90s.
Back when hockey was fun.
I remember throwing footballs through fucking tires with the Eskimos. Sat with Gizmo. Took a picture
Gizmo.
I
with
know
Gizmo.
they used to do a thing, Oilers and Eskimos. Didn't they play they played like a hockey game where there was Eskimos
They
players
did. They
that were
swapped
playing?
up once in a while. They did
Yeah.
some of that stuff too.
I
But
watched
this
one of those
This
games
is like
where
an
they-
invite everybody into Coliseum, I guess it probably was at the time.
Yeah, it
Skyreach?
could have been Skyreach Center.
Could have been.
Marius Tchaikovsky took me for a tour of the press box, Coom. He gave me a free drink, a fountain drink. And you know what I made? I made swamp water.
Yeah, you
Fucking
did.
right, I made swamp water. Marius Tchaikovsky, great man. He gave me some popcorn.
So we got Andrei Kovalenko. Who's number 1 and who's number 3?
Boris Mironov.
Boris Mironov's number 1. Boris Mironov is the
nail.
highest scoring Russian.
Bobo,
in
man, he
Oilers
was
history.
sweet.
Nail Yakupov?
Nail Yakupov is number 3.
Hell yeah.
So what
That
you're
was the
saying is...
That was great. You
easiest
guys did a great job.
The
trivia
bar
round
is
we've
really
ever done.
low, Mr. Zykov.
How many more Russian players can you name? Only
Mikanov.
20, there's 23 guys in Oilers history.
Igor Ulanov.
Igor Ulanov's one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had 53
Alexei
points in his Oilers
Mikanov.
career.
He was another guy who would take a shot off his face if he needed to. Oh, you know what, boys? I can't believe it.
You didn't do it.
Coombs Trivia teaser is brought to you by our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. They're going to
Ooh.
get back-to-back plugs here. Sherwood Ford the Giant, sexy staff, sexy vehicles. They were stuffing a truck full of toys for the kids. They're just great people. They're great people. They've got great deals, great value. Go check them out, sherwoodford.ca. Give them a call, 587-860-1538, or head on out to Sherwood Park, Alberta. It's beautiful out there. Dan lives there. 2540 Broadmoor Boulevard, Sherwood Park, Alberta. Sherwood Ford the Giant. Go
I
ahead.
think when it's all said and done, Valentin Zykov can be in that top 3 Oilers all-time Russians.
Well, I mean, like Rick said, it's a very low bar.
Can
That's a
he
very
bump
low
Nail
bar.
Yakupov?
What's it?
Yeah.
How many points did Yak have with the Oilers?
111
Oh man.
in 252 games. It's not that bad.
Oh boy.
I think
Half a point a game.
if you were a betting man, would you say that he could bump Dennis Grebishkov out of the top 5?
Oh my God. Dennis
Grebby.
Grebishkov is in the top 5.
Well, you did
He had-
have, what do you have, 3 stints with us?
Yeah, a couple of tours of duty.
I feel like they traded Dennis Grebishkov for a second-round pick like 6 different times. And he was involved in like a trade for Marc-Andre Bergeron, I think.
At least twice. He was at least twice.
At least 7 times.
So where do you think Zykov's going to slot in with? Is he going to play on the 4th line, or is he going to go, well, whatever the fucking identity line is?
I think
Where's he going to go?
I think he probably ends up on the second line with Nuge.
Who comes off that line?
Who's on that line right now? It's Drake and
Drake and
Jesse.
Harvey.
No, you can't take either. Drake had a huge game yesterday.
That looks like it's the second line now. Like they're flying around. Like Kajula's got good wheels. Puljujärvi looks comfortable. I don't know if I would mess with that line right now.
No,
I also
no,
like, man, that
thinking
hit
about
on
it.
Doughty last night, Kajula.
Oh, which
Helmet
one?
up in the visor,
That was a
rips
gooder.
it off. That's great.
Yeah.
Maybe Zykov bumps Spooner out of the lineup.
Could you imagine?
That's
See you later,
so, like,
Spooner.
Could you
We turned
imagine?
Eberle into a guy that got bumped out of the lineup by a waiver transaction.
Well, speaking of Spooner, since you made a little pivot there, Coom, today Dusty posted the November Hot Takes, his article that he does every month over at The Nation. Go check it out, Oilersnation.com. He was talking about, and I would love to know your opinion, boys. He said in his opinion that the Spooner for Strome trade is actually worse than the Eberle for Strome trade.
Oh, Cuddles.
So Cuddles is getting no love here early on. Dan, what do you think about this? Do you think Dusty's right? Is he wrong?
I don't know. It's like I think it's really and I'm not saying Dusty necessarily, but I think the fan base in general is kind of forgetting how much we disliked Ryan Strome.
At least
I
Strome
didn't
had a
dislike
role.
Ryan
Though.
Strome.
He had a role. He was perfectly competent, like defensive center.
Yeah,
Which-
he
which
just
is
like he was
super
a-
underwhelming. But
that line was just a black hole where offense goes to die and nothing's changed.
But they didn't get scored on. Like,
Yes.
They weren't great, but they weren't horrible. They were just kind of neutral. They kind of just took up time on the ice.
I also think that this is ridiculously early to call a trade one way or the other.
I see where he's coming from, though. You're talking about a guy, you're taking Eberle out and you're replacing him with a real NHLer who was just fine as a third line center and maybe had some upside had he played right wing on the top two lines. Whereas now you're taking that exact same player and replacing him with somebody who could easily be replaced by a 6'1", 223-pound Russian guy we just picked up on
also,
waivers.
the whole thing.
So I get where Dusty's coming from here.
when they dumped Eberle, like part of it was a cap hit, and part of it
Don't
was
say that. It was not a cap.
Because they didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
People say cap dump, but also you could have just not signed because what the weird rhetoric that Chi apologists use is they're like, oh, like we had to dump money so that Draisaitl wouldn't get offer sheeted, but you also could have just not signed fucking Chris Russell immediately. But like,
we also had $4 million just sitting there doing nothing.
but someone's definitely going to come out and give Draisaitl like a $16 million offer sheet because that always happens.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
offer
we
sheets
always
happen.
talk about these offer sheets that never happen.
Let's compare apples to apples here. In 7 games with the New York Rangers, Ryan Strome has 1 goal, 2 assists, and 3 points.
and
And he had, and how many points did he have with Edmonton?
In Edmonton,
One.
he had 2 points,
Oh, he had
1
2?
goal, 1 assist in 18 games.
I just remember there was that point when he was on pace for 6 points.
We're jumping over to Ryan Spooner now. In 7 games with the Edmonton Oilers, he is -6 with zeros across the board. In 16 games with the New York Rangers, he had 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points.
The worst is how, so beyond the cap dump thing, so they wanted to move Eberle so they could acquire another center. And then they just ended up turning that center into another winger. So
No, they got all bummed out because Eberle didn't look great in the playoffs and wasn't this hard nosed go in the corner muck it up type of guy that the NHL's moving away from right now. It's anything aside from that is make an excuse. 100%. Everybody sat there and bitched that Eberle looked bad, didn't try very hard, and all sorts of stupid shit like that. Whereas he just didn't have a great playoffs one time.
Well, and that just kind of goes to Peter Chiarelli's MO of selling low, which everybody knows is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Sell Jordan Eberle, trade Jordan Eberle after his worst
because the other thing, like
statistical
even with that
performance.
playoffs, it's like Nugent Hopkins had no goals, 4 assists in 13 games. And it's like you're gonna give up on him because he didn't have any puck luck in the playoffs. Like it's
And the
such a,
Leon contract didn't kick in until the year after anyway, so that's just a load
I don't
of
know, man.
bullshit.
You got to watch out for those offer sheets.
Back to the original question. Spooner for Strome or Eberle for Strome, which is worse, Dan?
And I'm going to counteract my own point here now, too, because Eberle's the year this year. He only has 11 points in 24 games. So he's definitely not world beater that.
But at least
he was
in
for
that
us.
one, you went an NHL player for an NHL player, whereas the Strome Spooner, you went an NHL player for a marginal guy who easily could not be in a lineup as of tomorrow.
I think the Strome Spooner trade will be the last trade that has Peter Chiarelli's fingerprints all over it.
Please
Let that be true.
be right.
Oh my God. Oh, just the thought of it.
What do you know?
I just think that
Do
that's
you
the
have an
last
insider?
transaction.
Is there a source?
No source there. I just think
Damn.
that organizationally they've taken the reins away from him, and he's probably, and this is just my opinion, but I think that he doesn't have a lot of clearance on a lot of moves now. He has to run that through the red tape.
Yeah, I think that goes through a couple guys.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he's already gotten axed, and they're just hanging on to him, and then they're going to make their change later.
So he's just like a puppet.
Yeah.
And he's
I
got
don't know
strings.
if he would want to do that.
You know what? With his interview with like Gene after the trade, the Strome Spooner trade, and just like after, or no, I guess that was the Ken Hitchcock one, and then the Spooner Strome trade. Fuck me, I'm battling.
Stromer
It's just
Spoon.
like
It's a
he
grind.
looks so beat down right now that I wouldn't doubt that he's not allowed to do anything, and he's just like a dance cowboy.
Do you think they took away his keys from the office, and now he has to text somebody when he's there? And they're
Oh,
like,
he's got to
"Can you
knock
let
on the
me in?"
door?
Yeah. Can you let me in, please?
Maybe.
Is he still allowed to drive to and from work?
So to answer your question, Bag Milk,
Go ahead.
I
Lost his
think
parking stall.
I do think that Dusty's
It's
probably
not
right
even
here.
heated. It's out in the road. He's got to pay fucking in park. Go ahead.
I think Dusty's probably right here that the Spooner for Strome trade is worse than the Strome for Eberle trade.
Kuma's Dusty, right?
No, the Eberle for Strome trade is still really bad. You still, like, what you did is you sold extremely low on a pretty good player, and just brought in, like, we all knew what Strome was at that time, even though he was a 5th overall pick. Like, he wasn't like a high offensive player. His game clearly wasn't translating to the NHL all that well. You still just gave up like a high quality talent. Like I don't know, Strome to Spooner isn't that big of a dip. It's a pretty big dip, but like, man, oh man, dumping like a 20-30 goal guy for Strome is still just like impossibly bad 1-for-1.
Former 20-30 goal guy.
Yeah, lots of time left.
I'm still
holding on for 27 to get 4 or 5 by the end of the calendar year.
Yeah, we are going to get to the Lucic struggles because Rick, you've been dropping some hot Lucic takes over the last few weeks, and I don't know, man, they're not playing out very well.
I'm sticking with that. I lost he's going to score in Calgary, but I threw out a backup plan, and I'm holding on to that backup plan right now.
And a hell of a plan it was. This first half of the Oilers Nation Radio podcast, again, brought to you by our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant, 2540 Broadmoor Boulevard in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Give them a call, 587-860-1538. Again, that's 587-860-1538. Go talk to Victoria at sherwoodford.ca. She is available right now to guide you wherever you need to go on your vehicle-related journey.
How has Frank and Gus been doing the good boy battle?
My man is on a 2-game win streak. And last night, zero hesitation on his Oilers pick. He just bolted to it.
Yeah.
Fucking guy's a genius.
And Gus?
It's not his fault, frankly. You see what I did there, Dan? That the Oilers have been letting him down. Winnable games. Frank should have more points. Now,
yeah, he's gone Oilers solid for...
He's gone Oilers
6 or
solid
7?
probably the last 5 or 6 in a row. Yeah.
And you've swapped up sides too.
See, that's important to notice. That's important to notice. People always say Frank goes to the same side, and he does not. Rick picked that up. Rick has been a loyal Frank's Picks watcher. To answer your other question, Gus did win last night.
Nice.
However, he lost against Dallas. So, the good boy battle rages on. Frank is now back to 500. No need to brag. I also had a pet store reach out to me and offer free stuff for Frank because he's awesome.
Humble brag.
Shout out to them. Boys, I want to talk about the Hitchcock era. They are now 3-1-1 in said era, and they are now on a 2-game win streak. Big win against Dallas in OT. Big win last night against the Kings. Rick, what are you seeing in the 5 games of Ken Hitchcock behind the bench so far?
I don't know. I think they're playing a little more confident themselves. Inside their own blue line, they're definitely a lot better. I know I think it was Connor who said there hasn't been much changes out there yet. But there's something out there where they're playing a little bit better. Everyone's holding their position a little bit better inside the dots, keeping that puck away. We're getting good goaltending right now. I mean, the offense really isn't incredible right now, but let's take care of our own end and work the way out and go from there.
Dan, you were at the game last night. What did you see?
I think a big thing that's just been noticeable in the game since the McClellan era is our breakout. And I know that was like the first thing that Hitchcock talked about.
Puck support.
Yeah. Giving some options coming out of the zone when the defense finally gets the puck away. I do think that they still are pretty scrambly in their own end, and it's frustrating to watch still. That goal the goal that was disallowed last night, they were just standing around watching that one.
I'm hoping it's old muscle memory as they kind of like, they get run around a little bit. They kind of like, oh shit, and forget what Hitch is saying, and they kind of go back to what they've been told the last couple of years.
Yep.
So in the long run, I think Hitch will kind of fix that stuff up. But yeah, no, they do revert back to some bad tendencies a little bit.
But so it's big. I think it is a big thing that Hitchcock has worked on with getting them out of the zone. They're still creating so much of the offense off of the rush. But yeah, I think that'll come with time. Hitchcock's style is to start defense and then work your way out from the net.
Cam, what do you think?
I've noticed they come out harder after periods.
I find that they don't have a lull at the start of any period in general.
The only time we really saw it is when they were in LA and they came out super slow to start the game. But in the second and third period, they came out guns a-blazing.
I thought I had noticed that all year, though, even when Todd was around. Like, they'd have a bad first or second, and then wham, that third period, they came out, and it's like Connor was knocking over some garbage cans or something.
Another thing I've noticed in the Ken Hitchcock era, in 4 starts, Mikko Koskinen has a 9.36 save percentage.
Looking at Mikko Koskinen's season as a whole, he is now 7-2-1 with a 2.26 goals against and a 9.24 save percentage. Guy's looking good. I mean, that disallowed goal, though, real ugly. So the fact that one came back, we're going to thank our lucky Hitchcock stars for that one, Dan.
Arguably, Talbot wouldn't have been able to make that save with his back turn. He did last night. Either.
Oh yeah, that was weird. That was like that gave me flashbacks to Jonas Gustafsson, and I'm just like, oh no, face the right way, pal.
That's the big man, though. When you get that, when you get those big body just spread out, it's all good.
He is a very large man. He's about 6'9" on skates. So that brings me to a heated debate that we have all the time here at the office. You guys know we like the answer, always on the roster. Alex Chiasson had that title. He scored again last night. He's got 11 goals and 2 assists, shooting for a Cy Young this year, 13 points in 19 games. Whereas Koskinen has been lights out. He has claimed the starting role from Cam Talbot, at least right now. Cam, I know you're passionate at one side of this argument.
Mikko Koskinen has become the answer. He became the answer in that game against Dallas when it was 0-0 and there's 1 second left. And Alex Radulov carried the puck behind the net and everybody was standing and everybody was watching and nobody was looking at Jamie Benn or Tyler Seguin. And he got the puck.
Never heard of them.
He got the puck right in front of the net and almost ended that game and broke everyone's heart.
Yeah, that was close.
And Mikko Koskinen came with a huge save.
I was sitting right there.
That would have been classic Oilers.
Mikko Koskinen is now the answer.
I would have raged.
That would have been a meltdown. That would have been an infinitely bigger meltdown than the disallowed goal in the overtime, because that was a meltdown. If they had allowed that goal with 1 second left, somebody, I don't know, they would have been bad news bears.
Dan, your thoughts on the answer title?
I think, I don't know if I'm ready to give it to him yet, but I think that Drake Caggiula is right there.
Oh, you got a third answer. Rex appreciating the Drake Caggiula. Go ahead.
No, I'm every time I hear someone try and start to pump Drake's tires a little bit, I'm getting a little more excited. I know I was pumping him from this all summer, and I've heard and read nothing besides people shitting on him and he's horrible. He shouldn't be in the NHL. And blah blah blah.
You're reading Henderson's tweets. Like,
oh my god, he wasn't.
We definitely never said that around this here. We've always been big Drake believers.
There are a lot of people on Twitter that were just shitting on Drake for all the stupidest little reasons.
The thing that I never understood about Drake Caggiula is it always seemed that he just got way more leashed than a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi. That always bothered me, where he would make the exact same mistakes as Jesse would, and I was just like, I don't understand here. This is like a very what the fuck's going on kind of decision-making process to me. It's not so much a shot against Drake as the people who are running the show.
No, and that's fair.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's always been an argument with this whole regime. Has just been the guys that get the push versus the guys that don't.
Can we rank the mistakes though? Like, were they all grade A mistakes, or did Yessie have more high-end mistakes, or Drake's were a little bit lesser mistakes? You gotta look at position. You gotta look at
age.
There's a lot of stuff out there
for sure. But
look at the grit chart.
But no, Bagnook's right. Like there is some times where you're just like, why is that guy got a leash? Whereas
and you know what? And he's right there. I know so many people hate hearing this, but the type of game he plays, the team can feed off of. He can get in the opposition's head. He goes out there, he bangs bodies, he's crashing. He did that last year. That guy had a broken jaw or whatever it was, and still tried to scrap somebody.
Yeah,
I would be very happy to admit I'm wrong on Drake Caggiula. Happy to.
I think I called 18 goals at the beginning of the season for him.
But to come back to the conversation, I don't think he is the answer right now. I just think that he's always knocking at the door.
Wait a minute, where you threw his name in the ring.
I did throw his name out there. I just don't think he's the answer yet. I would still give it to Chiasson. He's a good guy to
have in the mix, but he's not the answer type.
I still give it to Chiasson.
My problem right now is I don't have an answer to who's the answer. There's no definitive run for me. If Chiasson cooled off, then I'd be like, okay, it's obvious that Koskinen should have it. But that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
Chiasson shooting at like 85%. He's gonna fucking score 50 goals.
He scored on every single shot that he's had.
50 goals. It's unbelievable. 50 goals and 65 shots.
With Koskinen, and why I like him as the answer is the team seems to play a more competent game when he's in net. They seem to be more down to take risks. They seem to play with more speed. There seems to be more energy.
I think there's some coincidence in there. I don't think the team sits there and goes, who's good net? Thank God it's him and we can play a little bit better.
They see big Mikko Koskinen net like a big fucking tree taking up the whole net. And they're like, damn, I can make a mistake because we got our large man. I was going to say large adult son, but the dude's like 31.
But the goaltender has to have the exact same, that has to have the same mentality, or at least be allowed to have it. Like, well, I can't make any mistakes tonight because I got, my defense in front of me, this isn't very great, so I got to be perfect. And I guarantee you that's what got between Cam's ears.
Speaking of Cam, big shout out to Talbot last night for his celebration after Oscar Klefbom's game-winning goal.
Team guy.
He's definitely a
Big
team
fist
guy,
pumps on
for
the
sure.
bench. Big fist pumps. We're going to get to Cam Talbot here right after the break, but I want to give a shout out to our friends at Get Sauced. Dan was at Get Sauced a little while ago. He sniffed the spices for radio silence. They do exist.
It's wafting.
Yeah, you
That's
got to
what it's
waft it
called.
like
You
chemistry class.
You can't stick your nose in there.
No.
Not in radio silence.
You will burn your nasal passages.
You have no idea how bad that hurts.
It was when they opened the box. You got hit by that wall of spice.
Well,
coming.
I've been around a couple of those as we try and make some sauces.
It's just
that
gonna
work,
be
and-
bad.
Oh no, it hurts.
I can't wait for Jay to cry. Jay's going to cry, Cam. Your trivia is going to upset his whole
He
entire
talked a lot of
existence.
shit and he's going to pay for it.
You think he's listening right now?
Of course he is.
Listening live.
Jay, you're in trouble, my friend. Shout out to our friends at Get Sauced, 9620 58th Avenue. Give them a call, 780-462-2418, or go to check out everything they have to offer, the sauces, the spreads, the rimmers, the accoutrement you need. Spice
Spices.
up your life. GetSauce.com. I want to go back to Cam Talbot really quickly. We wrote on Oilersnation.com that he is apparently available for trade. Frank Saravalli put that out for TSN. Rick is already shaking his head. I'm going to start with you, my friend. What do you think?
Sure, I could see that the name is out there. I mean, obviously there's 6 players on the team that are not available, and I see why, if that trade was made by somebody other than Chia, how it could help the team try and fix some of the things that Chia's fucked up. Getting that 4.5 out of here right away would be really nice. You have some wiggle room there, but no, you can't. I haven't seen enough of Koskinen to say, you know what, this is our guy who's going to play 65, 70. Would we not get ourselves back in the same situation if Talbot didn't have a real backup, where Talbot has to play 70 games? Well, who's going to back up Koskinen?
The original answer, Al Montoya.
Well, he didn't do a very good job
The
last
OG
year, so
answer.
why would we think that all of a sudden that Montoya is going to take some of the heat off Koskinen, and Koskinen can play the proper 67 to 72 games that you want out of a starting goaltender, so he still has energy to go into the playoffs?
After Cam wrote that article, it automatically got posted to Facebook, and I thought it was interesting that Oilers legend, Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup winner Grant Fuhr weighed in on the conversation, and to paraphrase, he's basically like, I don't understand this at all. You need 2 goalies in the NHL.
Yes.
Confidence matters.
Yes.
It's not like Talbot forgot how to play in net overnight.
The
Cam,
only
thoughts?
the only way I would do a Talbot trade, because I agree, getting rid of him, and again, it's like what we talked about. It would be a Chiarelli sell low move, like, oh, this guy was great for a large period of time, and now he's been bad for a bit. Let's trade him while he's bad. The only way I would do it is if you trade him, and this is something that other people I saw on Twitter talking about, is like deal him in a swap, change of scenery kind of swap for another UFA goalie, like say like a Jimmy Howard, and maybe throw in a pick to make that upgrade. That's the only way I would.
That doesn't make a lot of sense either. If you're going to move them, you have to go and kind of go after what you need, and then you can try and stopgap your backup goaltender. Like I know Calvin Pickard was just available the other day.
Scott Darling was on waivers.
But if you could do like Cam
That's where I
Talbot,
think
and
you go for your
do like
backup.
Cam Talbot and a pick, and you pick up say Jimmy Howard, who this year has a 922 save percentage. A couple years ago, 927. Lots of playoff experience. Like that might be an upgrade to make right now.
So Grant Fuhr's exact comment, Dan found it for me, was just an observation, but it takes 2 good goalies to be a successful team. And it seems a little early to think he can't play, in my opinion. He just needs some confidence to be back to being one of the best goalies in the league again. Talent doesn't just disappear. I happen to agree with Grant. I
Gotta have
also
some confidence in reading that about when a Hall of Famer says that about you,
Exactly. And I also remember the days of when Anders Nilsson took over the net just 3 short years ago. This exact same thing happened.
And how long did that last?
Exactly. And then what they did when Talbot started to heat up again was they traded Nilsson and they downgraded their backup position. So what makes sense to me is to have them both.
Ride it for
Have
the
them both.
year.
And if Talbot is going to be fist pumping, cheering on goals on the bench, the guy doesn't seem rattled to me.
No, he's fine. He played behind Lundqvist, which has got to be a little tough to do because you're never getting out there. This is when Henrik was at his best. Then he got his opportunity out there when Henrik went down, and he made the most of it.
If you believe in Cam Talbot, which I think all of us agree that he's not a garbage goalie, he's a good goalie, he's just going through a rough time. Would you right now, if you had the option, sign him to an extension at lower than you expected to sign him for, say this time last year? Maybe
It depends on what the number is.
Yeah, it depends what the number is, and it also depends with...
Because there's no doubt these past 2 seasons have taken him down from like a top UFA goalie to, in the middle.
But the guys in front of him aren't... Last year, it was not a very good season for anybody, especially a defenseman. I don't think we can pin a lot of that on him. I have not seen a lot of goals this year on Talbot that you're like, ooh, that's a bad one. There's been some out there where you do the old, your goalie's got to make that save, which is fine. But I mean, those aren't really a goalie killer. There's been no bad goalie killer goals scored on them. I remember a couple, they're giving it to him the top of the circle.
Yeah.
These NHL shooters are getting paid to shoot. They can pick corners. He's getting paid. Talbot's getting paid, and he got bested by the guy.
And it's like
you can do.
And it's like last night too. You look at Koskinen, if that goal is not disallowed and we lose that game 3-2 because of that goal, everybody's murdering Koskinen for that.
Yeah.
Well, even Talbot's last game that he played in Los Angeles on Sunday, the game winner was a fucking breakaway by Anze Kopitar.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to be like, well, yeah, but he should have stopped it. Or maybe you're looking at who's coming down on him and being like, oh, God damn it. Fuck.
Yeah, like he got beat it's a coin flip.
Like Rick said, though, nothing has been so egregious and offensive that's gone in on him. He needs a chance. Give him some time. And you know what? The nice part is that Koskinen is playing well right now, and you don't really have to worry about it.
That's why it's good to have 2 good goalies.
Exactly.
That's why you don't pull the trigger on a trade unless you get into the goalie.
Why is it that some people in Edmonton think that you have to limit the number of good players on the roster? It makes no fucking sense to me.
You can't have too many good players.
Well, they've got one goalie that's good. Get rid of the other one. No, no.
I think with a lot of people, it's just that people want to believe that Talbot's going to turn us, go get a top 6 left winger, top 6 right winger.
When does who's making the trade? When does that ever happen? When was the last time a goalie got traded?
You have no confidence in the guy pulling the trigger.
That's just it. And,
zero.
And but that's where I think that's where it comes from. That desire to trade is to just upgrade the disaster of a roster
to try and help him dig himself out of the hole he's put himself in.
We literally we can't sit here and piss about Strome for fucking Spooner and then be like, let's sell low on Cam Talbot.
Exactly.
Like, good Lord.
Peter sell low. Chiarelli should not be making any trades.
Peter sell low.
Agreed. See what he did there? Boys, last night the Oilers made their retro jersey debut. And by retro, I mean the exact same ones that Connor wore a couple years ago. Little bit of different piping around the neck, I guess. Mm-hmm. One was a Reebok, one was an Adidas.
Big change, big change.
Big change. So I want to know what you guys thought of the blue jerseys. Personally, I think those are so much better than the orange. Those should be the everyday jerseys. Dan, I know you've got thoughts on the Condors jerseys. I like those too. I'll start with you. What do you think of the jerseys?
The only problem I have with our blue jersey is that blue is the most common color in the league. And so it just, as a primary color for a jersey, I mean. And so that bugs me, and I like the fact that we went with something different in the orange. The problem with the orange that we wear now is that, and we should be going back to our old playoff orange, in our old is in 2 years ago, because this orange is just highlighter orange, gross, two orange pylon kind of coloring. So I don't like the royal blue just because it's such a common color in the league. I think that, like you said, Bag Milk, we should be going with the Condors style of navy blue. At least it's a darker blue, and then using that orange as a highlight. But that's my opinion.
Essentially, like 2000s blue. You mean like Oilers 2000s blue?
If you haven't seen the Condors jerseys that Dan is talking about, it's essentially the Oilers jerseys but flipped.
Yes.
Orange shoulders, blue body.
That navy blue that they have on their shoulders right now is like the primary jersey color.
Yeah, I would love to see them bring back just something from the 2000s. Like I really love the metallic sperm jersey. I think it would look sick as an Adidas jersey. Or, as I've said in the past before, get that shoulder rigger guy, the guy with the stick. Get that as the main logo on a dark
go
blue
back
jersey.
to the 96 to 99 type, the Doug Waite, the Bill Guerin,
those
the
are
Oilers.
just a lot of white.
Yeah, but those are crisp, clean looking jerseys.
Yes.
Go check out your local London Drugs calendar from 97. I think that's probably what they were wearing.
I don't know. I'm off board on the orange. I think those would be cool if they were a third.
That's a third. That's a third jersey.
If they wore those a handful of times a year, you'd be like, okay, I can get behind the orange.
Like, they should have, in my opinion, they should have 4 jerseys. They should go back to what they were rocking in, like, with the royal blue, and like those ones as their main sets. You can have a throwback weird orange jersey as something random, but then also have a unique third that's like the Comet jersey. So
right behind
4
us,
jerseys.
Right behind us, there is a framed Ryan Smith jersey, and it's a beautiful blue.
That's a hell of a jersey.
I think that's the ticket.
Damn, they look good in those things yesterday.
Is that different than last night's?
It's exactly, that's my point.
It has
This
a
jersey
different-
behind us is like, it's a Ryan Smith jersey. We'll post it on our social media. It's a blue body, orange shouldered Ryan Smith jersey from probably, I don't know, when he came back from LA, I'm guessing.
Yes.
It's the exact same that they wore last night. They're calling him retro. That's just a different conversation we should have. Whatever. I like the blues all around. Blue or orange, Dan?
Orange.
Cam?
Blue, plus a new one.
Blue.
Dan, you're outvoted. You are off the island.
All right, so
fine.
that's it. We're
That's
gonna
fine.
send the facts, and we're gonna say the orange shoes are done. Take them off.
This Jersey Talk, of course, brought to you by our friends at Get Sauced, 9620 58th Avenue in beautiful Edmonton, Alberta. Give them a call, 780-462-2418, or go check them out at getsauce.com and go find yourself some flavor. Guy Fieri would encourage it. Flavor Town. Bring it to your house, Cam. Bring it to your house. Another Jersey conversation I wanted to have last night is we got into a very serious investigation on Twitter last night. Somebody, a Nation fan, spotted a McDavid Los Angeles Kings jersey. Now, he posted a picture of the Nation. I said, we need to get some eyeballs on this thing. A lot of flooding comments came in that was an all-star jersey from a couple of years ago when it was in LA. Further deep dives, further pictures from the Nation. A whole whack of private investigators at Rogers Place last night discovered that there was a man wearing a Los Angeles Kings confirmed Connor McDavid jersey. Rick, I know you had some thoughts on what he was doing. Go ahead.
It's a hell of a troll job. I have to give this guy a pat on the back because that was the Wayne Gretzky. Was it the Gretzky emblem or was it like the LA one?
It was the LA one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's got the
You would have
same-
got bonus points if it was like the crown.
No, yeah, that's the one I thought it was at first, and then that, I give that guy full marks for that. I'll go get him a beer. Yeah, no, you had a good time with it. If I was a Kings fan, I'd probably be doing that type of stuff too. Like, hey guys, we got the greatest player off you last time, and the clock's a ticking. You got Connor for another whatever the time is. Figure it out. But yeah,
100 years.
Yeah, he's ours right away.
Dan, thoughts?
I'm just surprised nobody called 911 on that one.
You
I-
were involved in the mix last night. You
I
found
was.
an actual All-Star Game
I
jersey.
did. The key to any jersey nowadays is to look at the name bar, and the name bar on that All-Star jersey from their, what year was that?
A couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, a couple of years
2
ago.
years ago.
Was is the lettering, and the lettering was just very different from. It's not as wide. The letters weren't as wide on the All-Star jersey.
That's a great eye. I would never have noticed something like that.
Dan's all in.
Fonts.
This
I'm
was
all
a
about
very
fonts.
Dan loves fonts.
Is
There's
it
one
italic?
thing that Dan loves. It's going to freefonts.com and perusing the options. There's just so many there. He likes to download things, maybe make a little graphic for himself. It's
I'm
great.
pro Comic Sans.
Very.
I remember one time I was typing something up on a Word document in Times New Roman, and Dan walked up behind me and he grabbed me by the collar and he said, "Use a better fucking font."
Yep.
And he went with wingdings, and it was just like a really weird thing because only Dan can read wingdings,
Yep.
but it works.
It was great. It was a great article. One reader though. Only one reader.
You?
Not great for the website.
Boys, we are winding down our time on this week's episode, so we have to look back. This is a throwback to episodes past where we made bets on when Milan Lucic would score his next goal. Now, Rick said it would be in Calgary when we were all going down to Calgary. That did not happen.
Whoops.
Nope.
Dan, you were up next on the clock with
I
a
did.
goal against the Los Angeles Kings at home last night. That did not happen.
Wah, wah, wah.
Cam, when were you at?
I'm on New Year's Eve still.
So,
So we got
guess
three
I-
survivors. We got me,
we have a-
you, and Chris the intern.
We have a
So
big old gap here.
we are. Jared is showing me that we have got a lot of time left to kill, so we're going to stretch this one out a little bit.
We've been talking for like half an hour, and you're like, "I'm out. I'm over it."
I thought we were way later.
get me
Normally
the
I have a
fuck out of
clock
this
running.
room.
All right. I guess I'm up next because I've got Lucic scoring in the game right before the Christmas break against Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
I don't like my chances.
I don't like your chances either.
You know what? He started to buzz. He had that wraparound last night that could have gone
Yeah.
in off a skate. It was looking good.
You know
And
that's when he's
then-
getting his goal.
No, someone's gonna take. What's gonna happen? And it's gonna be hilarious. Is he's gonna come down the wings, full speed, head down, Ryan Smith clapper, bar down.
That's how he
That's
scored.
what's gonna happen.
That's how he scored his last goal of the season last year.
It's gonna
Came
happen.
down the left wing and he ripped a clapper through the goal.
They're going to be playing the Jets and on New Year's Eve, and he's going to come down against like Tyler Myers or something, and Myers is going to be half asleep, and then Lucic is going to clock one past Laurent Brossoit, and it's going to be like, what the fuck?
Man, last night he got the puck. He got the puck in the slot, with about 3 minutes left to go, and I was the only person standing up at that moment because I was just like, it's happening. And then that half clapper came out. And it
Well, you
missed the
needed
net.
it, Dan. You needed
did.
it. I tweeted at you at the beginning of the third period. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're on the clock, pal.
That guy suggesting that we have to eat beets if he doesn't score. Like, why does he hate us?
Hey, do
so
we
much?
have any? We never made any bets involved with this, right? So we're calling it the Lucic bet.
Yeah.
There was no stakes.
There's
Well, that's
no
what I was
stakes.
saying. I've got this written down on my list that we need to add stakes to these bets.
Well, that and I think delicious Trump steaks would be the choice.
Yes,
for
of
me.
course, we get some Trump steaks.
But
Very delicious, always tender.
see, I've been arguing that we should have a
Slightly
draft.
Russian.
We should draft every game remaining in the season, and then that way there's actually a winner to this bet, and then the loser.
What if we all lose, though?
Well, because one person's going to win.
No goals.
Could you imagine he goes the rest of the season without scoring?
Scores
But that
not
could also be a
first
bet.
game and-
You could say he's not going to score again, and that's your bet.
It's like a short sell on him scoring
But
goals.
is this like prices
eyes.
right? And if he scores, say on January the 4th, I win.
No,
I
because
feel
I'm
like
the
it should be
closest.
prices right.
no. This is why we have to have the draft, because that way you actually have a game that you have the choice of, and you've picked that game. And if I don't get it right on that game, then next up is Rick.
I want to see the trades
the
that
next
happen
game.
after the draft is done.
Oh yeah, exactly. There'd be
I
deals.
like your I got a January 6th there. I'll throw in a 12th, but give me that January 27th one.
This is a thing we're doing.
got
All
a
right, so
feeling.
next week on the podcast, we are going to draft games for the Milan Lucic
Done.
goal. So what do we got between now and then? We've got Vegas,
Yep.
and then they take off on the road again. So we've
No,
got
they
a couple
play.
of
They
games.
play like every second day up until Christmas now.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday.
They got a hell of a schedule for the rest of for all of December.
So we've got a window here between the next episode of the podcast where he could technically score, but I think we need to come in
and
I
ruin
mean,
it all.
I don't think we have to worry about it. I don't think we have to worry about it.
I
he's
also
gonna
think we have
ruin
to
it all.
worry
He's
about
gonna pop 3 on Saturday.
If he
Watch
gets it
this.
on, if he gets it on Saturday, it's mine. I win.
Wait, which game
Calling
did you pick?
Yesterday.
No, you're over.
No, you
Price is
didn't.
Right.
Win. This Price is Right. You're over already.
That's over.
So you're
Oh,
passed
no.
over.
Yeah.
So, for example, if he scores on the 29th and my pick is the 30th of New Year's Eve, then I win because I'm the closest Price is Right style.
And I'm the game right before Christmas. So if he scores on Saturday, that would technically be my goal.
Yeah. See, you get
like
get
$1
really,
them there. I
You
like
get
it.
screwed out of this one by a bag milk.
Okay,
You
well,
$1
we should
them.
wait until this seems unfair.
Now it seems unfair.
I feel like,
wanted the Price is
look,
Right.
I feel like I've made a really good decision here, and I'm going to get shafted out of it just because Rick and Dan made poor choices.
So
I feel like I'm also in a good spot.
I don't wanna
so
be
there's actually 4 games now between now and next week's podcast. So we might have to do the draft a little early.
He's
Might
gonna
have to do the
drop
draft
us.
on
What do we
Monday.
got? What do we got coming up?
We've got Vegas on Saturday.
Possible.
Then
Well,
we have
anything's possible.
Yeah,
Dallas.
they're all possible.
We have Dallas on
Kevin
Monday. Dallas on Monday, and then we're in St. Louis on Wednesday.
He's not scoring in St. Louis
Why isn't he scoring in St. Louis?
because
They're
they're actually
horrible
a
right
team.
now.
He
They're
might
actually
score.
a team.
Terrible.
They're
No,
bad
they're
right
a
now.
team.
They're in last
an
place in the
actual.
league.
They're an actual NHL team,
He
which
might
means
score revenge for old Hitchcock though.
that you know what? If
You saw
Milan,
what Line did to the Blues, right?
yes.
Oh,
If Milan Lucic,
you just
was-
compared Milan Lucic to Patrick Laine.
Yeah, maybe like a half guy. So we'll get 2.5 for that one.
Speaking of Laine, Yost tweeted out that he's at about 500 career shots and he's still around 20% shooting percentage. It's just
Man, his stat line this year, literal Cy Young, 21 goals, 3 assists.
he had 18 goals and 1 assist in November. That's awesome.
That's so good. Because I remember that everybody was like, oh, he hasn't scored an even strength goal yet this year. And that was like 2 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden he's on pace for like 75 goals this year.
All right, back to Lucic here for a second because we're going to do the draft. Yes,
Monday.
technically he could score between now and the next podcast, but I think those should still come to me. Those should still come to me. Those are Daddy Bagmilk's goals. Rick, however, I've got a problem with your other bet that you threw in on Lucic, where
Yeah, I
he's going to get
I needed a backup plan here.
He's going to get 4 or 5 by the end of the calendar year. Cam, you're staring at me like you don't like that idea.
No, he's going to score on New Year's and he's done for the rest. And he's done for the rest of the
Man,
season. And he's
this
not going to
is-
bury one in 2019.
This
He's
is
got
just
2
one of
goals
the
in his last
saddest
71
bets.
games. 2 goals in his last 71, Dan. So I think maybe we should think about some stakes
Yeah, absolutely.
for
We should.
who gets, because now that we're going to have to do a draft, we're going to have a winner.
We got to have the listeners help us out with this.
If you got a suggestion, if you're one of the 3 people, I know Wanya doesn't, that's a real life joke, but if you're one of the 3 people that you listen to this podcast, tweet us what we could do for a punishment or a winner, something. We need something.
Whoever loses has to go outside and we'll spray them with a cold hose.
As opposed to a
Whoever-
warm hose.
Yes. I was going to say whoever loses has to live with Evan for a weekend.
That would be terrifying.
Right?
See, I thought, okay, so I think that the bet should last for the rest of the season.
Of course.
And then the person that wins the most of this bet gets to select a name on the back of a jersey that each person has to purchase.
Oh, I'm actually doing a bet
loses.
with Adam from TLN, and it's about the Oilers. So it's if the Oilers make the playoffs, because I think they will.
When the Oilers make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
That's the bet. So when the Oilers make the playoffs, then I get to pick a jersey that he buys, and he has to wear it for a week straight, and vice versa for me. So if the Oilers miss, he gets to pick a jersey for me to buy, and I have to wear it for a week straight.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Like I like
Team specific or what?
No,
Well, that's
I
the
just
thing.
get to pick anything. So say the Oilers make it, and I'm like, okay, you have to buy a Leafs jersey that says, I don't know, like Shrek on it or something.
The best thing for that is that because
You have
I
to
could,
wear it for a week.
like I could force Coombe to pick a Yankees jersey
That says,
that says Blue Jays suck. That kind of thing. So you can make it. You can
Yeah,
make
I
it
see where we're going with this.
that'd be
now.
mean.
oddly personal.
You could be like, you could put some wit into it.
Yeah, it's true.
I like a jersey idea.
I would make
But-
you buy a Minnesota Wild Connor McDavid jersey.
Yes,
Oh,
You have to wear it for a week.
it's so bad.
Do you imagine?
Canucks Messier.
So there's a lot of
see, I think
lot
that's
of
kind of funny. I'd wear
No,
a
if
Canucks
there was
jersey.
if there was a Canucks fan out there, that's definitely the one.
I
so
would
there's
make-
a lot of losers in this bet.
I
which
would
is
make
good.
all of you buy a McDavid Leafs jersey.
Okay, so where are we going with this?
I think
The
we
losers have to wear the jersey?
So-
What does the winner get?
So the winner of the whole season gets to choose a jersey for each person to purchase that loses.
Okay.
So if I have the most Milan Lucic goals in my games at the end of the season, I get to tell Rick he has to buy a Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup championship shirt.
Oh,
I'm going
Rick.
home.
Oh
That's
my God. So the
horrible.
number's 06.
You just
and
cut him
the-
deep.
dude.
That is,
You just cut
he's
Rick
getting
deep.
up and he's
Oh,
walking out
man.
the door.
Things are getting spicy
That
now.
was
Never
Yeah.
forget.
Oh.
Oh, Jared throwing in never forget is the
So-
new bar on a Carolina Hurricanes.
And then,
06.
and then for bag milk, I choose a Vegas Golden Knights #1 fan jersey, and then for Coombe, I get him to wear a New York Rangers Cam Talbot jersey.
Wow,
I
that
don't
would be
know.
devastating, man.
Yes.
No, I really like the Yankees one.
I
I
feel
think
like I
we should
took
be
the
able to
worst
go
one on that.
interleague.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can do it.
I'm going to
can do
make you
whatever
buy a
want.
Jacksonville Jaguars Tom Brady jersey.
I'd wear that. Why not? Why not? Okay.
I'd rock the
Minnesota
hell out of that.
Timberwolves Barry
fly
Bonds
right
jersey.
to Boston with that shirt on too.
All right. I like this. So we've got some groundwork here. Next week on the podcast, or maybe earlier, we're going to do a little draft. We're going to pick some Milan Lucic games. Rick, congratulations, or best of luck on your 4 goals by the end of the calendar year.
Thank you.
I don't think you're going to get that one.
So wait, are we going to pick
Big hopes.
how many goals we think he's going to score for the rest of the year, and we're going to pick those games out?
You're just going to draft games. So every game of the season will be assigned to one of the people around the table.
Snake style draft.
okay.
And then, so if he scores 2 goals in one game, that gives you 2
Oh,
goals.
I
So
get it.
we'll
So you
have,
have his
like-
game and you get those goals.
We'll all
Yes.
have like 6 or 7 games in our pocket.
That took me a
over it.
really
Most.
fucking long time to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting here, Dan was explaining it, and I was not picking up what he was putting down, and it was making me anxious, but now I get it.
I
all
like
good.
this. My favorite part of it too is that when Chris gets back, he won't know any of this is happening, and he's gonna get rattled. That, what do you mean I have to buy a jersey? Like he's so cheap, and I love it.
You better be listening to this though.
Guarantee he's not. Chris is a terrible employee,
He's not technically an employee, he's an intern.
terrible
He
friend.
doesn't get paid.
He is just awful. He's enjoying Mexico, and I'm very jealous. And fuck Chris. Love you, buddy. Next thing I want to bring up is Kaylor
this-
Yamamoto.
I thought this episode was done, bag milk.
Oh, we have to extend the time.
We are killing
Jared
time because I
said-
thought we've still got 6 minutes here. So I thought we were done about 20 minutes ago. Turns out we are filling time.
You
so
can
we're
jump
gonna
into my thing that I mentioned if you guys want to talk at the MLB non-tender deadline is coming
Yes,
up.
let's do this.
What?
little MLB non-tender deadline coming up. Kuma's very excited about what the Jays are going to do. They're going to bring back Paul Molitor, and John Olerud is going to be a 1994 reunion after they won.
I think the Blue Jays should pick up Yunel Escobar.
Maybe bring Roberto Alomar back. He could spit on someone else's face. I like that.
Just dead air from
That is my
Coombe.
aesthetic.
Love it.
No, but I really
All
want
the
to talk.
time McCain juice.
You say aesthetic?
Yes. I want to talk about Kaylor Yamamoto. Bob Stauffer tweeted out, don't be surprised if Yamamoto comes up in the next couple of weeks, blah, blah, blah. Rick is rattled. We now have Zykov in the mix. Does that hopefully prevent Yamamoto from coming up? It's not like he's been lighting up the world in Bakersfield, Rick.
Yes, he's got to stay down there. Someone tweeted it out yesterday too. I think it was actually you and Reed talking. there's no rush for him. When you get here, you want to be a top 6 forward, right? He's not a bottom 6 guy. You need him top 6 guy. Right now, you've got Puljujarvi and both Chason taking up both right wing spots in the top 6. If one were to fall off, sure, maybe you want to start looking at picking him up then. But you've got to give these guys a couple weeks of falling off, quote unquote, before you actually look at this. He's not killing nothing down there.
In 6 games with the Condors, he has 1 goal, an empty netter, I should add, and 2 assists.
I think a big thing for sorry, Rick, I don't cut you off, but I think a big thing for a guy like Puljujarvi is actually having some time to just play with his line mates.
You can make some mistakes and you're not worried about being, oh, fuck, I guess I'm off the lineup again or whatever. Like, that's the nice thing about what Hitchcock's doing with Puljujarvi right now, in my opinion, is he's letting him do his thing. Work through it. Last night, charge into the net. Big fucking smile after that goal. Greasy one.
They've actually got themselves a top 6 that makes sense. Kajula's working nicely on that second line. Puljujarvi seems comfortable with Nugent Hopkins. Chazon's scoring goals all the time for some reason. McDavid and Draisaitl's a thing. They have the identity line as their third line. Now they need to plug and play whatever the fuck their fourth line's going to be, and it cannot be Kyler Yamamoto, so just leave him down.
Exactly. He's not going to... We already know they're not going to take apart this identity line.
I hate that.
I think everybody hates it. They honestly...
Their identity is that they'll never score again.
If they got bumped down to the fourth line as the fourth line, then maybe outside chance.
Well, if you're going to split up McDavid, Draisaitl and do 3 centers, then you can maybe consider it.
Well, yeah, you can start fiddling stuff in there, but maybe then. But they're not going to do that. We already know they're not going to do it. So now you're just looking at a fourth line player playing 6, 7, 8, 3.5 minutes.
You don't want Yamamoto playing with Spooner?
No. Well, you know what? There's a good chance they will be.
Well, that's what it would be. If you call him up, he's going to be on a line. He's going to be on a line with Spooner.
He'll be
and
in
Patrick
Bakersfield
Russell
right away.
Well, and also Tobias Reeder's going to be coming back right away.
Exactly.
Spooner's going to be bumped to the lineup.
Dude, I just told you, Spooner's going to be playing with Yamo in the A.
Could you imagine? Well, man, if that happens, I'm going to roar laughing.
Is he wavering them?
No.
Oh.
He's also got
nobody's going to take him either.
He's got a $3.1 million cap hit attached to him.
If Zykov has a relatively productive season and Reeder comes back, well, I'm sorry guys, we're running out of room for Spooner. I'm not bumping Jujar.
That's a hell of a fourth line. I like that.
Because I'd rather have JJ as my fourth line center than Spooner.
So the only guy
when Reeder comes
bump
back,
Spooner,
I'd go.
the only guy you're going to bump out for Spooner then is Milan Lucic.
Kazian? No, because they're not touching that third line.
No,
because Kazian's been playing well.
Imagine being the guy that drafted the game that Milan Lucic is healthy scratched for.
I would call that a win.
I would
you get points for that?
Mine, no problem.
I feel like you get a half point for that.
We should do like 3 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist, 1 point if he gets healthy scratched in your practice games.
We are adapting the rules. I like where this is going. This is going to be a great bet for the rest of the 55.
What an ugly leaderboard it's going to be, though.
Oh, a hell of a leaderboard.
Dan wins with 1. And it's 1 healthy scratch game, no points.
I like this. I also like the idea that we came up with earlier that we should send Jay into the players' entrance at Rogers Place and see if any of the security guards could tell the difference between him and Jason Garrison.
Just in a suit. Just dress him up in a nice game day suit.
Or Rick had another idea. We set up a little table at West End.
Oh, right upstairs, right outside the ice rink or something like that. Get it out of the way and just, 1 or 2 of you guys up there kind of monitoring the lineup.
Yeah.
And just have them there with a stack full of headshots.
If you haven't seen this comparison, we'll put up a side by side up on our social there on radio podcast. You can check it out. That Jay Garrison looking motherfucker.
They're twins. Same name even.
Same name.
Jason.
What's your name?
Jay.
Who are you, sir?
Meant to be.
I'm Jay.
I like this. We've got some wheels turning in different directions. We've got a Lucic bet building. We've got a potential signing with Jay Downton going on. This is a whole big bundle of plans here, Coop.
Big bundle of content.
Jared is playing us out. I want to thank our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant, as always, and Get Sauced. Go check them both out. Thank you for listening. Please share. Please retweet. Please tell a friend. Please tell your cousins. Tell them all.
Shout out Damien.
Shout out to Damien.
Best wishes.